Okay, a lot to talk about in this game between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Short and simple, Panthers win 6-1 over the Edmonton Oilers, and this was I want to say, a blowout. Yeah, this was a blowout. To put it so lightly. But yeah, the Panthers just routed the Edmonton Oilers at home. The game that you should be able to, the place that you should be able to beat. But oh my God, this game had a lot, man. So Sergei Bobrovsky going up against the starting goaltender, Stuart Skinner. It starts off with the face-off win by Connor McDavid. However, not even a minute in, and we have a first goal of the game. He's assisted by Lo Serenian. That's his 11th assist in the playoffs. And Anton Lundell's 10th assist in the playoffs. And off the wrist shot towards the back of the net is Brad Marchand. Marchand remains hot. I mean, red hot for the Florida Panthers. Like in the last game, he had a shorthanded goal and an overtime winner, a double overtime winner, I can tell you that. He also scored in game 1, so he is still scoring. My God, he is hot. And it's his 8th goal of the playoffs. To make it a 1-0 Florida lead is Brad Marchand. Where do we go from here? Keep going with some scoring, with some shooting. Forsling with the tip in. That was stopped by Skinner. Skinner in the first period was more or less decent, but came with a lot of penalties. First one is Lundell tripping against Leon Draisaitl. By the way, Draisaitl punching Lo Serenian during the scoring of Brad Marchand. That's unacceptable. But Lundell trips Draisaitl. It's not a good penalty to take. So Edmonton goes on the first power play of the game, and during that power play, McDavid with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Bouchard with the slap shot. McDavid with the snapshot. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Bouchard. Most of them were stopped by Bobrovsky. The only exception is Nugent-Hopkins, which was wide to the right. Adam Henrique with the tip-in that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And before the power play even ends, there was a cross-check from Evander Kane with the cross-check against him from Forsling. So it'll be a 4-on-4 for about 9 seconds. And Florida goes on their power play. And during that power play, Sam Bennett with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. Barkov with the deflection, which was stopped by Skinner. Aaron Ekblad with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. And power play is killed off. And then another power play for the Panthers. Evander Kane with another penalty. And this is a high sticking call against him as he high sticks against Marchand. Very easy call. You got to call that. You have to call that one. That is an easy high sticking. But the Panthers in this power play only had one shot on target. Matthew Tkachuk with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. That power play is killed off. There was a tip in, from Brad Marchand, but that happened a second after the power play is over, which, needless to say, that was stopped by Skinner. And believe it or not, folks, the Panthers with yet another power play. There was a bench minor, too many men on ice, that would be served by Corey Perry. So the Panthers go on a power play only to be be nullified with the Aaron Ekblad trip on Darnell Nurse. So it'll be a 4-on-4 for a little bit. And during this 4-on-4, Evan Bouchard with the snapshot, which I think that winds up being a Edmonton power play right there. Bouchard with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky, and the rest of the penalties were killed off. And another penalty, high sticking against Bennett as he high sticks Connor Brown. So another Edmonton power play. And during this power play, Corey Perry with the tip-in opportunity that was stopped by Bobrovsky. This power play is killed off as some of the shots from Bouchard were blocked by Barkov and Reinhart. And an interference on Victor Arvidsson, and that was a stupid penalty to take if you're the Oilers. because you ran right into Bobrovsky on the blue Chris. Very easy goal to take. Very easy. And then a fight started happening. And there were some fights there and there in the first period. And man, I already talked much about the power plays. So Panthers go back on yet another power play. And this one, they score in this one. He's assisted by Nate Schmidt. That's his 9th assist of the playoffs. And Erod's 13th assist of the playoffs. And off the snapshot to the top left corner that snuck past Stuart Skinner is Carter Verhaeghe with his 7th goal of the playoffs. That one got to the top left of the goal net, and it ricocheted towards the back and then the right side. That was a nice spot. I mean, that was a really nice spot for Carter Verhaeghe, man. 2-0 Florida, and that would ultimately be a game-winning goal right there. So Jake Woolman, who had a lot of problems in this game, with a snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And that would be the end of the first period. The Panthers lead 2-0 with yet a power play, with yet a penalty given up by Lundell, a roughing. I mean, he did initiate against Evan Bouchard. And so Edmonton would come up with the power play to start the second period. Whew. Okay, so that's like 7 penalties I already talked about in the first period, right? I didn't even count. Maybe I kind of over-exaggerated, but that many penalties and many power plays and the 4-on-4s in the first period. And guess what? This is we only just began. We just getting started. I mean, this is gonna be a long video, and then it's almost 7 minutes long, and I'm still at this first period. Well, now I'm at the second period. Edmonton with the power play to start the second period. Evan Bouchard with the slap shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. There was a shorthanded chance, but I think that was more of a clearing attempt by Aaron Ekblad with a snap shot that went towards Skinner. But ultimately, there would be Edmonton's only goal of the game, as he is assisted by, let's say, as Ekholm with his 2nd assist of the playoffs, and Evan Bouchard's 15th assist of the playoffs. And not the snap shot. That feels more like he's trying to bat it in than trying to snap it home. But Corey Perry with his 9th goal of the playoffs, and he's hot. Corey Perry is hot right now, and he scores the lone goal for the Edmonton Oilers to cut the lead in half 2-1. And since then, Panthers, they just would not stop scoring. A minute and 20 after that Corey Perry goal, there was already a response by the Florida Panthers, as he is assisted by Carter Verhaeghe's 12th assist of the playoffs. He assisted. There you go, folks. Now we can talk about Sam Reinhart. I mean, what a shift that was. Did you see that play where they had to check towards the Edmonton players, and then got the puck, and he just completely wrist shot, and then I feel it's more like a snap shot, because that shot was almost as out of nowhere in between the legs of Stuart Skinner, and he makes it 3-1. He makes it 3-1 Panthers, Sam Reinhart, and that's his 5th goal of the playoffs, his 1st in the Stanley Cup final, this Stanley Cup final. So, great goal by Sam Reinhart, man. What a response that is. Verhaeghe with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. Kapanen with the snap shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And then a giveaway from Pats Colson to Bennett, and Loserinen, and then to Bennett. And Bennett was just out of control good in that sequence. Hitting Pats Colson, John Klingberg, just hitting and then checking those players. And ultimately scoring from Loserinen, which will be his 12th assist in the playoffs. And Sam Bennett off the breakaway wrist shot. An easy one there for Sam Bennett to make it 4-1 Panthers. And this is what I'm talking about from last year to this year. The breakaways that we could not stop. But now we can make breakaways, as Sam Bennett with a breakaway goal. That's his 14th of the playoffs. My goodness. He is freaking hot, like Brad Marchand right now, man. And Bennett just could not stop scoring. He just can't stop scoring, man. He's hot. So because 4-1 Panthers lead, more shots on target from Loserinen. as that was stopped by Stuart Skinner. And you have to have that question of how long could Stuart Skinner be in this game for? Evander Kane with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Darnell Nurse with the snapshot that was stopped by Trent Frederick. And then I think this is around this area where chaos is starting to unfold. Now there was a situation where I believe it was Darnell Nurse, number 25, with Gadjevich. Now he perhaps going to make himself a meme in the internet where he is just smiling like this towards Darnell Nurse. Gadjevich doesn't mind it though. I think he's going to become a meme. In fact, people are already making memes about Gadjevich with the situation against Darnell Nurse. And like I said earlier, this is only just the beginning. And I'm still talking about the second period, man. Ed Cohen with the slash shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the slash shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And Bobrovsky is just absolutely amazing. He can stop the pucks even when he is being screamed. It's crazy. It is absolutely a crazy game. And Bobrovsky, since giving up that goal early in the second period, he's been locked and loaded. Bouchard with a snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Evander Kane with a tip-in that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Bouchard with a slash shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And then a penalty from Darnell Nurse that he cross-checks Lundell. And the Panthers go on a power play. And during this power play, there was a shorthanded chance. I think that was more of a clearing attempt from Adam Henrique. But that penalty would carry over to the third period, and things are starting to unfold. There was a little bit of scuffle, a little bit of after period scuffle, much like the first period. Third period, this is where things start to get spicy, heated. No pun intended, because Bam Adebayo and Udonis Haslem was at that game. In fact, Bam Adebayo was the one that was banging the drums. So the Panthers would stay on the power play to start the third period. Ed Cohen with the snapshot, which was stopped by Bobrovsky. This power play would be killed off. Evander Kane with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And then a horrible, costly mistake by Stuart Skinner, as he was being pressured. I think Matthew Tkachuk was right there, being pressured by Matthew Tkachuk, and he just flung that puck over the glass. And obviously for him, he did not mean to do that at all. He was just trying to clear it, and that clearance was just too much high, way too high for his liking. And Stuart Skinner gets called for a penalty, delay of game. This penalty would be served by Evander Kane. And the Florida Panthers go right back on the power play. And during this power play, Nate Schmidt with the wrist shot that was stopped by Stuart Skinner. Schmidt again with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. I mean, he is just all over the place in that power play. Carter Verhaeghe with the wrist shot that was stopped by Skinner. 3:27 into this period, after the shots were made, we have a goal. It's a power play goal, another one in the game, as he is assisted by Matthew Tkachuk. That's his 13th assist in the playoffs, and Sam Reinhart's 10th assist in the playoffs. And that was just, and this passing is a epitome of trust from this team. This is a trusted team from the Florida Panthers, as these passes were connected perfectly. As they find Aaron Ekblad, and he snaps it home past Stuart Skinner, and that's his fourth goal in the playoffs. It is a power play goal, and that is all for Stuart Skinner, as he has been switched to Calvin Pickard. I've actually talked about Calvin Pickard last year. If you go back to my old videos, Calvin Pickard was actually the goaltender for both games in the regular season. From the first game, it was a pretty tight one in Sunrise, Florida. And then the second game up in Edmonton was not even close in Florida's favor, as they were on that cold streak at that time. But Pickard was their goaltender on those games. And then that Stanley Cup final last year was been all Stuart Skinner. And last year, there was only one goaltender switch, which was Game 4, on that horrible Game 4 from the Florida Panthers. And now they have to do a goalie switch, as that is maybe some sort of revenge, retribution for the Florida Panthers. But this could be problematic for the next few games, because going back to the LA series with Edmonton, when they pulled Stuart Skinner because he is not producing saves for the Edmonton Oilers, Pickard would be the one to lift up the Oilers, and they started winning games since. But we'll see what happens from this point forward. We'll talk about that after this game. Anyway, Pickard comes in this. He already made his first save against Loserinen. That was a wrist shot from Loserinen. And then Janmark with a roughing penalty on AJ Greer. So that is, these are starting to become more of a dirty ones from Edmonton Oilers. These are clearly frustration penalties from Edmonton Oilers players. First of many. Janmark with the roughing penalty on Greer. I think that one, he was punching the head behind. So the Panthers right back on the power play. And during this power play, Sam Reinhart with a tip-in shot, but that was stopped by Pickard. Matthew Tkachuk tries to tip it home as well, but that was stopped by Pickard as well. Nate Schmidt with the wrist shot, that was stopped by Pickard. Actually, those two shots I just mentioned, those were after the penalty was expired. So there's that. Brad Marchand with a hooking penalty on Connor McDavid. You cannot touch Connor McDavid. That's an automatic penalty. So Edmonton goes on a power play, and their only shot on target was from Evander Kane with a tip-in shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky, and that power play is killed off, and then chaos starts to go through as Trent Frederick cross-checks against Sam Bennett. You do not fuck with Sam Bennett. I don't care if he is public enemy number one. I don't care how much you hate Sam Bennett. I don't care at all. If you do something against Sam Bennett, Bennett is going to fuck them up. And he did just that on Frederick, as Frederick had no chance. He was getting beat up even on the ice. And what's crazy, everybody was fighting. There was 5 fights at the exact same time. Okay, Frederick versus Bennett. Greer versus Ekholm. Darnell Nurse again versus Gadjevich. Corey Perry was, I think, also involved there. I forgot who it was. But fights were all over the place. There was 5 fights happening at the same time. I think Schmidt was also involved in this one. 5 fights happening at the same time. 5! That's crazy, man. Wow. Frederick gets a cross-check on Bennett. That would be served by Corey Perry. But from the rest of them, he gets a roughing call. Donald Nurse gets a roughing call and a fighting call. Greer with the roughing call. What the heck? Sam Bennett with the roughing call as well. Gadjevich with the fighting call. And the following players I'm going to mention: AJ Greer, Sam Bennett, Jonah Gadjevich, Darnell Nurse, Trent Frederick, and Matthias Ekholm. Those 6 players are tossed from this game. They are done. They all have a 10-minute missed contact. And considering that 10 minutes that half point was already passed, they are done for this game. So how's that one? Heated, chaos, everything. All happened in that sequence, man. It was crazy. After everything, Panthers will wind up with a power play out of this. Okay, a power play for the Florida Panthers. During that power play, Verhaeghe with the slap shot that was stopped by Pickard. A couple of, was there shorthanded chances or was this penalties? Yeah, this penalty was expired by then, so nothing crazy. Brett Kulak with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Corey Perry, the backhand, that was also stopped by Bobrovsky. More penalties started happening. This one is a dirtbag move by Evander Kane as he was slashing Carter Verhaeghe. And Carter Verhaeghe was already down on the ice, and then he pretty much high sticks him up in the head. Dirty ass motherfucking move by Evander Kane. He should be gone, and he was gone. But yeah, the Panthers are a dirty team, right? Get the fuck out of here. Look in the mirror. Panthers with another power play, and guess what? They will eventually go on 5-on-3 as Jake Woolman with an unsportsmanlike contact on Matthew Tkachuk, and that was a dirty penalty. And more fights that broke loose It was war. This feels like old school hockey. You know, in old school hockey, they just fight everywhere. This feels kind of similar to it in modern age. We don't really talk much about that. I think the last time I speak much about this kind of sequence, I think earlier this year when the Panthers were fighting Boston Bruins this much. Typically, when I talk about wars like this, I talk about the Ottawa Senators. And by all means, I'm not comparing the Edmonton Oilers to the Ottawa Senators. I'm only comparing the games like this where the Panthers go through sort of similarity like this with the Ottawa Senators. That's all I'm comparing it to. And I love talking about it. But Jake Woolman with the Unsportsmanlike Conduct on Matthew Tkachuk, this will be served by Connor McDavid. And also, too, wasn't he the one that had a water and then just shoot water with that drink off the bottle? I mean, that's that's nuts. That should be a fine. But everything else, when Ekblad got involved with this fight, Woolman with the roughing call, as well as our sportsmanlike conduct, so that would be a double penalty. Aaron Ekblad with the double rough on Woolman, but Roman also gets another rough, so both of them were double penalties. But Florida with the 5-on-3 out of this. They would get a 5-on-3 out of this. And more penalties. This is more retaliation penalties. And this is Kapanen with a cross-check on Loserinen. This penalty would be served by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins because Kapanen also was called for an ejection misconduct. So if the Florida Panthers' first 5-on-3 was expired, new one was going to pop up, and that's exactly what happened. And inevitably, they would score on this 5-on-3, as you should. As he's assisted by Gustav Forsling, that's his fourth assist of the playoffs, and Nico Mikola's third assist of the playoffs. And off the slap shots, buries it past Pickard. It's Evan Rodriguez with his second goal of the playoffs to make it 6-1 Florida. That would be your final score right there. Now, after that whole sequence, Florida would still have that power play. The power play would finally... Actually, that didn't even expire yet, did it? No, it didn't. Loserinen would be penalized for a charge on Brett Kulak, and that's an easy call on Loserinen. So this will be a 4-on-4 for a bit, and then Edmonton will wind up with the power play. And Kulikov with the backhand, which was stopped by Pickard. And John Klingberg with the slap shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. We want the cup chants. We're happening in that arena. TNT broadcasters were, of course, biased against the Panthers. What a joke, man. What a joke of the TNT crew. But okay, I think that covers everything. Oh, man. I think talking about the fights were more exciting than talking about the game itself. But the Panthers were excellent. They were amazing from start to finish. Starting with Brad Marchand and ending it with Rodriguez. Carter Verhaeghe's goal in the first period was a game-winning goal. What a game, man. Absolute. Wow. When we look at the team stats, 33 shots on targets came from the Oilers, 31 shots on targets for the Panthers, 34, and ironically so, 34 hits for the Oilers, 26 hits for the Panthers, and those hits from the Oilers were resulting in penalties. 32 face-off wins for the Oilers, 30 face-off wins for the Panthers. Penalties. Perfect time to talk penalties. 21 total penalties on the Oilers. 21. Listen to this number. 21. That's 3 touchdowns. Plus 3 point after tries. Florida with only 14 penalties. Edmonton with 85 penalty minutes. 85. That is the largest since, I think they said 1988. It was with Montreal and Calgary. It's that Stanley Cup final where I think that finals was also heated. I think it was 88. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I might have, but I know it's the Montreal and Calgary series. Panthers with 55 total penalty minutes. Oilers with 85. Talk about undisciplined. As far as power plays, 11 power plays for the Florida Panthers. 11. And 3 of them went in. 3 of the power play goals were in by Carter Verhaeghe, Aaron Ekblad, and Evan Rodriguez. 6 power plays for the Oilers, only 1. That was the lone goal for Corey Perry. 17 block shots for the Oilers, 15 block shots for the Panthers. Both teams with each 3 takeaways. 12 giveaways for the Oilers, including a disastrous one given up towards Los Serenen and towards Bennett. 7 giveaways for the Panthers. And stars of the game. 1 star goes to Carter Verhaeghe with 1 goal, 1 assist. 2 stars goes to Sam Reinhart with 1 goal, 1 assist. 3 stars goes to Sergei Bobrovsky with 32 out of 33 saves he has put up in this performance. And what a stellar performance by the Florida Panthers, man. Now, for Game 4, it's going to be in a couple of days. I expect Oilers to play very angry. They're going to play very, very angry on Thursday. And the Panthers need to keep up this momentum if they're going to win again. This is a encouraging performance by the Florida Panthers as they take the series lead now, 2-1 over the Edmonton Oilers after losing in Game 1. So, yeah, keep up the momentum, Panthers. I already see some fans saying this series is over. No, it's not. It's not over until it's over. You do not want to get over your head. Last time we did that, when we nearly blew a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Final Series and nearly blowing the historic one too. We do not want that at all. I will say this, it is very encouraging for the Florida Panthers to win like this. Where do we go from here? All right, Game 4 is on Thursday. Do we keep the same lineups? How is it going to be for the players? Are they going to be fined, suspended? Or better question is, are some of the Oilers players going to be suspended from all this and fines and all that crap? And I think the biggest question of all is the goaltending situation for the Edmonton Oilers. Are they going to put in Calvin Pickard as a starter for this Game 4? Or are they going to bring back Stuart Skinner in the efforts to for that rest from that third period? Those questions remain to be seen, and I guess we'll figure it out on Thursday, right? We'll find out on Thursday. But Panthers take the series lead 2-1, and Game 4, hopefully they can continue this momentum as they look to try to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. So that's going to do it for this one. Let's go Panthers! And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content because Miami TV guys are back. And what he does, he'll be right there with you for entertainment you deserve. This is my TV setup, folks. Good night, everybody.